asking nothing but the highest, truest, or the best to manifest upon us now. Discover the power of choosing joy, even in life's hardest moments. Join me on this journey of healing, alignment, and empowerment. Hi, friends. It is Cortney here. We are going to be chatting about joy this evening. It is so interesting to watch the state of the world and even some of our friends, maybe even witnessing our own experiences that we're having right now. And so I thought tonight was going to be a perfect topic for us. So I really invite you guys to take a seat back, chill out with me, and let's connect. Look there, Denisha is coming in all the way from Atlanta. So something that I always love to do here on this podcast is for you guys to let me know where you're watching from, whether it is here locally or any place across the world or the country. I want you to please do me a favor and in those comments, list where you're watching and tuning in from. Also, if you've got a friend who may love this podcast, do me a favor and send them this episode or even invite them to come and subscribe to this channel. I see you, Judith. Thank you so much, my friend, for being here. I so appreciate your support, and that goes out to all of you out here. I know that so many of us right now are going through a time. Let's call it a time. And it took, look, we've got Stephen here from California. We've got Michigan in the house. And again, what was that? Was that Atlanta? Yes. And Dallas, of course. Roderick, my dear friend, thank you for being here, my friend. And so, guys, thank you. We are up. Ethan Brinkley, somewhere in Texas. That's right. He's on the road. Guys, Florida, friends, thank you for being here live with me. Germany's in the house. It means the world for me and for you guys to show up for us, for me. And I know so many of us others putting ourselves out there to connect with you. I see New York's in the house. Thank you. Tiara, is that right? Let me know if that's right. Go Bill, she says. And so, guys, again, thank you so much. Let's call on those guides and angels and let's step into the conversation of joy, okay? So take a good deep breath in with me. Big exhale out. Let's call on those guides and angels and let's connect. So guides and angels on our right, guides and angels on our left, guides and angels in front, and guides and angels in back to balance and harmonize our time here, leaving us in the light and allowing nothing but the highest, truest, or the best to manifest upon us now. Now listen, it's so easy to get caught up in negativity. It's so easy for us to get caught up in what's happening in the world around us. And something that I've been witnessing for the past few months, and actually have been even noticing in my own life, that there are people that I come across on the daily basis. And even I might be going through this at certain points too, where I have moments where I can learn from what's happening outside of me. I can also be making certain choices about where I want to place my energy. And over this holiday season, I started noticing, and this was with clients, it may have been even family members or friends or even again myself, that with the weight of the world around all of us, some people were really buckling to the weight of the negativity around them. All the while, there was this moment. I was sitting in my office where I do my private sessions. My client, I finished that client. I can't remember if it was a virtual session or an in-person session. But as we were done, I sat there, we finished that session. I took a good deep breath in. And I sat there feeling the weight of the world upon their shoulders, sending them with that breath, beautiful energy, kind of encompassing them in that light of connection. And I sat there, and for a moment, I started to match that energy. I started to become heavier in my own worry or the stressors of, oh my gosh, what if this happens? Or the what ifs with life, whether it be work, career, life, stress, bills, all the things, right? And in that moment, I took a good deep breath in and I started to actually come back to that spot, that moment that I was sitting in that office. I started to kind of look up and look at my surroundings. And I kept thinking, of all of the things that were placed around me were all things that I have actually even prayed for, had worked so hard to work towards, achieve. There were some awards sitting there, experience and paintings and client testimonies and all kinds of things. And I sat there and was thinking, this perspective, it is a choice. Are we going to buckle in the weight of the negativity or the worry, or even in the space of matching somebody else's energy? Are we going to let it sit and are we going to partake in that like it was a disease? Or are we going, am I, let's take it back just to myself, are you, let's take it back to you, are you going to choose to look around at your life and realize that some of these things, many of these things, were choices that you made along the way? So even if something right now is popping up that maybe you're struggling with, if you can find the spot within you that can find some sort of joy, I'm telling you that it's there. And even if it's not there right now in your life popping up, if there's no place that you can see joy in your everyday, in your soul, in your heart, in the intention that you're setting for you, is there something in your past that you can draw upon that feeling of joy and infuse that into your life today? Breathe that into your energy and start to emanate and exude that out, okay? When we do this, my friends, I'm telling you that more of that joy will find us, okay? There are practical ways that we can start to actually enhance and bring this into my life. I just said that and I just got chills down my leg. It makes me think of a podcast, and some of you might have seen this particular podcast that I'll reference. It was a podcast it was on Theo Vaughn's podcast. He's hilarious. I'm not sure if any of you follow him. He's so funny. But he had Tony Robbins on. And they were referencing and talking about energy, talking about, life, struggle, happiness, all of the things. And Tony took Theo through a moment's exercise. And I'm going to take you through that right now. He asked Theo, and as we're sitting here, I want you to partake with me in this. He asked Theo, hey, Theo, look around in our surroundings. I want you to look for anything that is green. Look around and take a count. And as I recite that, I want you to do the same thing. Look around your surroundings. Do you see anything that's green? I'm noticing, the few things that are green here in my office and my podcast room. And he asked Theo, hey, recite. What is that? What do you see that's green? I can see a little Christmas tree thing here. I can see it on my podcast, whatever this thing is, this piece of equipment. I can see green here. I see some green paint over there. And so he said, how many things green did you find? And he said, I found quite a lot of green things. And he said, okay, well, how many red things did you see? And Theo went blank. How many red things did you see? You weren't looking for red things. You were looking for green. You saw lots of green, right? Yeah. And so in that moment, Tony said, okay, now I want you to take a breath and look around the room and see if there's anything red. How many red things can you see? I see multiple here tonight as I'm looking around. Red glasses, red this, red ribbons, all of the things. I want you to do that. How many of you saw what you were looking for? How many of you saw when you were looking for green, you saw green? When you were looking for red, you saw red. The reason he took Theo through this, the reason I'm taking you through that, and this was such a really beautiful example, and it is because we typically find what we're looking for. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? Put an emoji here with me tonight, guys. How many of you understand that whatever you're focused on is exactly what life is going to return to you? That is why joy is a choice. Thank you, Stephen. Stephen sees it. Joy is a choice. If we're looking for dread, if we're looking for negativity, and if we also become that, take a breath in, my friends, it's exactly what is going to be emanated in the surroundings, and we're going to see and pick up on that energy, okay? If we're looking for beautiful connection, if we're looking for love, if we're looking for that joy, that is exactly what is going to come our way. It's also what people are going to feel you emanating as well. Let me tell you that. Thank you, my friend Roderick. Yep, thumbs up, friends. Do that for me, like and share, please. Thank you. It's really interesting to understand that we are absolutely going to receive the kind of energy that we're looking for. We are going to start to, if we're not looking for that, we're going to exude sometimes very often the opposite. And we already understand that that doesn't do anything for us. If we're talking happiness, happiness is very often an external something. So if X, Y, and Z happen, we get happy. That's so great. But joy truly is an inner vibration. I noticed Anderson, my little one, getting out of the car for school last week. I noticed that what I told you about earlier, I noticed that in my sessions and noticed that, I really wanted to really focus on the things that were in my everyday life that I could really find joy in, okay? And I think it was like the day after I was pulling up to drop her off to school, and I saw her little face. She was tired, she was exhausted, and I said, you know what, Anderson, if you could look for joy today, at the end of the day, I want you to tell me what you found that felt like joy, okay? And then before she got out, I thought, wait. Find joy within you and then find it outside of you. Can you do that for me? And she said, yes. And so as she got out of the car, just by me asking her that question, maybe even pointing it out, her energy shifted. As she popped out of that car, there was a little bit of a little step to her step, a little bit of like, oh, okay, that felt good. That infused a little positivity into her moment. I know that, and I felt it immediately. And as she bebopped across that crosswalk, I could see that she had a smile on her face. And very often, listen, it's very early. None of us are necessarily morning people, but I want you to understand that in that moment, I could see that she was not necessarily accessing that, and I probably wasn't either. But by being able to witness that within her, I also understood that wasn't just about her, that was about reminding myself, okay? And so when we do this, when we're helping other people, when we're sharing from the place of our own wisdom or experiences, that can be a really beautiful thing for the world around us. So I want you to understand that even though those little moments of insight might feel so elementary to some, I believe that these are the things that actually matter in life. And if we're not sharing from a place of love and connection and understanding, by the way, and a place of finding that joy within so that we can exude and first of all understand this so we can actually see it in the world around us. I believe that if we're wanting to be held in this light, in our soul, in our heart, it's such an easy place to start from. And when I say easy, I know it's not always easy, but it's a very beautiful elementary lesson that actually is in the same breath one of the most difficult things to understand, right? Denisha says we are not in control of others, but we are in control of our behaviors and feelings. So we can tap into anger or tap into joy. It is such a choice, Denisha. Thank you. Judith says, thank you for guiding us all in recalibrating our thoughts. Oh, Judith, I needed it, my friend, too. Thank you. Thank you. Stephen says, we are the only animals on earth that can regulate our emotions. It's right. And actually mirror them and understand them for us and then share them with the world around us. Ethan and I have had multiple conversations in the course of the last 2 weeks. And I'm a firm believer in that we are teachers. Very often my understanding sometimes can come across as weak. Friends, when we're understanding, I believe it's so strong. It's such a beautiful and loving place to be. Sometimes when we're not viciously fighting for what's right, and we're not doing that, sometimes when we have a calm, centered space, that can also very often to some look weak when we're coming through with love, compassion, and understanding. And I believe that is one of the strongest things that we can do and provide is be an example of what that space looks like. Very often we become very reactive. We all do, forgiving and understanding that that is a human choice, but that we can tap into that energy of joy. Look around, take a good deep breath in. And I invite you, even in this moment, my friends, to look around and see what you've accomplished. And maybe that's nothing in the physical space that you're in right now. Maybe it's just saying, I'm here. I didn't give up. I'm in this space. I have air conditioner and electricity. Listen, it can be that sweet and simple. But if we don't understand what that space of joy is, sometimes we have to go all the way back there. You got it? What I know to be true is that very often, many, many times in my life, when things, Mike is overloading a little today. Thank you, my friend. We are working on, we are having a bit of a mic issue. And so thank you, Olga. Are we good? Give me a thumbs up if we're okay. If it's doable, if it's too bad, we'll go ahead and cut it off short tonight. We are having somebody look into it, right? Thank you, my friend, Olga. I appreciate it. I do remember many, many times being in the space of feeling defeated. How many of you felt defeated and then actually realigned your mind? Judith says, sounds okay here. Thank you, Judith. Looking around and being consumed with the worry, the stress, all of that. If you're feeling that way, my friend, I want you to understand that you are not in this alone, but really starting to watch that mindset and coming back again. If you cannot find for any reason to be joyful right now, going back to a past moment, maybe that first time you ever remember finding joy, right? There's a picture. I'll post it on Instagram when we're done tonight. There's a picture, and I've referred to this picture here on this podcast before. There is a picture, and in a meditation, the image of this picture of myself came through. It was one of my elementary birthday parties, and I've got my hands in my hair, and my hands are just kind of intertwined, and it just looks like a free, sweet little girl, and she is so happy and is light. There's no worry. She's not thinking about a thing. She's not thinking about a bill or what to do or where to rush to or any of that. That image is it's so sacred I could probably even just cry talking about it, because I think of that little girl within myself. She's still there. And I think of her. When I think of joy, if I can't find anything in this moment to go back to, I refer back to her, right? So I want you to think about the first time you ever felt that joy, that freedom. And I even call it the energy of playing, right? And ask yourself, if you feel as though you've been taken away from that space, if you no longer even know that little one or that joy within you, maybe start to infuse your life today with little things that feel like joy to you. It might be as sweet as when you make your coffee, you use the most beautiful, delicate little coffee cup or a teacup or something like that, something really special, because you're special. You might be pulling out that dress that you've saved for a rainy day because this Tuesday or this Wednesday or whatever day it might be just feels like the day you need to shop in your dress. You know what I mean? How can you start to infuse a little bit of joy and bring happiness into your space today? This is something that I'm telling you will combat that space of negativity and worry. Another thing too is to actually share it, just like I did with Anderson that day. Ever since that was one day last week, or it might have been a week and a half ago when I started to ask her, and before she gets out of my car every day now, I'm saying, okay, have you found that joy? Have you found that joy? And saying, okay, I want to hear what the joy was that you saw outside of yourself. Did you see somebody who was in joy? Did you see something that made you joyful? Like, what was that? Something outside of you that feels like joy. And so the fact that I'm putting that little bit of an idea in her mind, I hope that one day when I'm not here, that her mind might drift, her soul might drift to find those moments instead of what sucks. right? How many of you have been with people who it just feels like this, right? Where they can't fix their face. And listen, I have RBF, okay? Is it RBF, BRF, whatever that is? I have it, so I understand that sometimes my face doesn't always match what's on the inside. But I'm telling you, if we're truly in joy, people will feel it. And you typically will be in it so much that there'll be an element of relief on your side. I know that here lately life has been really heavy. We are definitely and have been in this extreme of this side versus that side, whether we're talking about politicalness or just the daily differences of things or people or whatever, right? I believe that standing in the space of joy and grace is going to help you see things more clearly for you, so that you're not also having to be on this side or that side. That you can understand and ground yourself in your, I call it the nothing but the highest, truest, or the best for you, because that is where we reside. Stephen says, I bliss out in nature. Nature has subtle but powerful energy. It really, really does. And Olga says, every new clear day. I have a client, I referenced this last week on the podcast, and she is a firm believer that we go to sleep, and that is essentially like where it is the, what do you call it? End of times. And then when we wake up, that's the resurrection. Okay. So it's like every day is truly is a new day. We get to recreate our energy. We create our life, all of it. And then this morning, I'm going to actually highlight that. Olga, thank you for that. It made me think as I was pulling out of our neighborhood, the sun was coming up, and I started sitting there thinking, and I was exhausted. I was tired. I was needing to be reminded about finding that joy. Yes. And as I pulled out, I thought, oh, wait, this is a gift. Not everybody woke up today. Let's think about that, my friends. And I know many of us are old souls and we're ready whenever that time comes, right? But if we're here, we woke up because we're meant to add to the energy of this planet. We're meant to have that wave or that hello to the person sitting next to us. We're meant to find that joy and exude it. It doesn't mean it's always easy. But when things right now seem to be crumbling or shifting, I want you to understand it's shifting because it's going to get you closer to that joy. It's not shifting and maybe even falling apart for a negative reason. It's getting so that it's happening so that maybe you're getting closer to your purpose and closer to you and closer to your highest and truest and your best. So maybe when things are falling apart right now, they're actually lining up for you to gain access to that joy. I want you in the comments to do me a favor. Give me a time, an age even, when you remember finding that joy. I'm going to say that joy for me, I feel like I was 6. It's that picture. And then I want you to give me a time when you were youngest, when you first remember it. And then maybe in another time, maybe here lately, where you sat there, you looked around and you thought, wow, I'm doing the thing. Even if it's not built yet, but you're saying, I'm right where I'm supposed to be, even though I might not know what's on the other side of this. I know that this is on purpose and I'm standing in my joy. Even though the end isn't here, right? Even though we haven't maybe gotten to that point that we felt like that's where the prize is. Maybe the journey to the prize is we can bring joy along with us rather than wait to receive the joy. Does that make sense? If we can find joy in the everyday moment, my friends, that's your purpose. That is our purpose here on earth, let me tell you. So how old again? Let me know here in the comments, my friends. You guys are here. Tell me the first time, the age that you were the first time you felt joy. I'm going to say mine was 6. And then the last time, again, I was sitting in that office, sitting there thinking about my relationship, my career, all of those hurts and pains that got me to this moment right here, right now. Man, I'm so grateful. So many of the things. Well, I'm not finished, right? There's so many things I want to accomplish and do. But man, I'm sitting around looking at the things that bring me and help me access that joy within. So what are those ages? The youngest and the age that you realize that's what that is. Esmeralda, thank you, my friend, for being here. I so appreciate it. Esmeralda says, I was 4 and 6, and now at 47. I'm 47, my friend. I'm with you, Esmeralda. She says, I'm beginning to find that 4-year-old girl's happiness. I remember a few years ago trying to think of the first time I found happy, by the way. And if that's hard for you, I want you to just show gratitude that at least you know that it hasn't come up for you yet again, okay? I want you to celebrate not even being able to go there yet. Just a couple of years ago, I didn't even remember that picture. Or I didn't remember that feeling, let's say that, okay? And it was in a meditation. I think it was last March. It could have been even the March before. But that moment within a meditation popped into my mind and it found me. Sometimes we don't remember it. It finds us. Does that make sense? And so if you can't remember that yet, I want you to understand that it's going to come to you. Okay? It's going to find you. Stephen says, 8 years old, my family's ranch under an old oak tree. I love that. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for sharing that. Ethan says, 2017. Guess what? That's when we met. Thanks, babe. 2017. That's right. Denisha says 4 and 30. Ethan says 44. And Judith says, meditation time is my joy time. It keeps me sane and centered. It brings me back to gratitude. Living in gratitude. Olga says, almost every day these days since sobriety. Right. I think sometimes when we allow ourselves to stop masking, and I think we've all done that in our own different ways, and we do it for various reasons, when we're able to start to feel those things, we'll start to allow ourselves to step into those deep emotions and start to even figure out what in the world joy feels like, right? Because maybe we've been masking for so long that we might not even realize what in the hell that means, right? But I do think that us doing like what Judith says is meditation, engaging in that meditation or mindfulness can help bring us back to that center and help connect deeply within yourself, within this present moment, and understanding and allowing the joy to even surface. Okay, sometimes that takes a while for us to realize that joy sometimes has to surface up, and I want you to actually start to look for it in your everyday life. So I challenge you today. I ask you today to do this with me every morning when you get up, or when you maybe get out of your vehicle for those of you who are going to work. But I do that as I'm shifting my little one out the car. I'm doing that for her, and I'm doing that as a reminder to myself. And I'm wanting to help put a little Easter egg in her mind so that one day when I'm not here, maybe she's looking for the joy rather than today is another day, right? So tomorrow, as you're shifting into whatever you're doing early morning, I want you to access and find that joy within. Breathe it in. Exhale it out into your space, into the energy around you. You're not breathing it out just for everybody else, but you're infusing your bubble of protection so that you've got that to access, and that others will feel that when coming into contact with you, right? You'll breathe it in. You'll exhale that out to them as well, to the world around you. And then you're also throughout your day finding the joy outside of yourself. I encourage you and I challenge you to start to look for this. And when you find it, I'd love for you to post it or tag me or even reach out here in the comments when you do see it, whether it's this week, next week, 4 weeks from now, whatever. Come back to this YouTube video and let us hear how you were able to exude the joy, find the joy, exude the joy, and embrace it, and then see it show up in your life. Joy is a mindset. It is a choice. And I want you to decide how you're going to start showing up in the world. Ethan, in a conversation we had yesterday about choices and positivity and, this and that, he said, I guess I have to be the teacher. And I took a breath and I said, babe, I think we all do have to be the teacher. We're literally teaching, first of all, the world around us about energy, what to do sometimes, and sometimes even what not to do. We're learning from each other. So us showing grace to another shows another possibly how to, first of all, allow grace into their life and even see it. When we show joy, somebody may not even allow themselves to feel that. They might not even know what in the world it is. Maybe they've never had a joyful hand extended to them. But when we exude it, first of all, for us, so that we can even access it and find it, and then when people absorb that from us, and it's authentic, by the way, let's go there. When it is authentic joy, we don't even have to talk about it or explain it. People sense it and they feel it. There's another word lately I've been using, and it is, take a breath in with me, surrender. I surrender. I have no fight within me for anything. I simply stand in love and light and joy, and that is all I have to give. And I believe as we're transitioning also into this beautiful Aquarius age, as we're moving into 2025, my friends, what I'm finding, and this may be true for you, it may not be true for you, I believe that the more that we're surrendering to that space, surrendering, I often call it living life within that exhale, the more beautiful our life is going to become. Because what is reflected from the inside is 100% what's going to be reflected to us. And when we come from that space, my gosh, that's good. And I believe that that's pure joy. Friends, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Listen, we are growing this channel. It would mean the world to me if you can make sure you're subscribing, hit all those things, and share this to any of your friends that maybe you feel like this could be a message for them. We're going to be here a lot more often, and I cannot wait to see you guys and continue to grow this channel. It means the world to me. Thank you. I hope that you'll come over and join my VIP inner circle at CourtneyCaneSides.com. It's a beautiful group where we meet twice a month for an hour and a half, and there's so many really cool goodies in there. You're going to be learning about your own intuition, your own connection with your own, the way that you receive information, but also different healers and thought leaders from across the planet come in as guests too. So it's a place where we learn together and we grow in all areas of our life. Allowing yourself to share these experiences that you're moving through. You're going through an awakening. You've been connecting to your own guides and angels, and you're maybe even simply just wanting to know more. This is a beautiful place for you to connect, and I can't wait to see you there.